Hi kids, today we're going to continue to learn more chemistry. Today we're going to learn more about the proton, neutrons and electrons and how electrons are arranged in shells. Miss Tina here and I hope you enjoy this video. Now, I'm sure you all know what this is. This is called the periodic table of elements. In the periodic table, all the elements are arranged according to this special word. It's called the proton number. The proton number is the same as the atomic number, and it shows how many protons each element has. So as you can see, the element hydrogen has one proton, the element helium has two, lithium 3, beryllium 4, boron 5, and so on. So they are arranged according to their proton number. Now, as I have taught you in class, the proton number equals the number of electrons as well in a atom that is neutral. The number of electrons and the number of protons are the same if the element is neutral or if it's a neutral atom. Okay, so now we already know that the proton together with the neutrons are inside the nucleus of an atom. Where are the electrons situated? So that's what we're going to talk about today. So we've talked about how the nucleus is the center of an atom, and the nucleus contains the protons and the neutrons of all the elements. The electrons are surrounding the nucleus in shells. Now, we've also mentioned that these shells are not something that we can see, but they are just guidelines on where the electrons are. So let's look at this. This is the nucleus, and these are the shells. Now, for example, if this element has six protons, it would be the element carbon. Now, because it has six protons, it also has six electrons. Now, the six protons are in the nucleus, and there's also neutrons in the nucleus. The electrons are arranged in the shells. The shell that is nearest to the nucleus is called the first shell. And the one after that is called the second shell, and so on. So what happens is in the first shell, you can only put a maximum of two electrons. And we draw electrons in a form of a dot or a cross. So only two electrons can go into the first shell. So if I have two electrons in the first shell, how many more electrons do I have? Four. So the second shell can fit all four electrons. Because the second shell can fit a maximum of 8 electrons. Okay, now let's look at another element. Let's say the element sulfur. Okay, sulfur has 16 protons. So the protons and the neutrons, we'll talk about how many later on, are in the nucleus. The rest of the subatomic particles, the electrons, are all inside the shells. So remember, sulfur has 16 protons and therefore it should have 16 electrons. The first shell, the shell nearest to the nucleus, can fit 2. So we have 2. The second shell can fit a maximum of 8. So let's look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it can fit a maximum of 8. So I have 16 electrons. The first shell has 2. The second shell has 8. So I've already have 10 electrons. I need another 6 more. Can I fit them all into the third shell? Yes, because the third shell can fit up to a maximum of 18. But because this shell is on the outside, we only fill up to 8. Now, what happens here is we don't have to worry about fitting 8 or 18 because we only have 6 electrons left. So we put all 6 electrons in the outer shell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you notice the first shell has 2 electrons, the second shell has 8 electrons, and the third shell has 6 electrons. And I write it in this way, 2, 8, 6. For carbon, the first shell has 2 electrons, the second shell has 4 electrons, and I write it this way, 2, 4. This is known as electron arrangement. I'm going to teach you more about electron arrangement in our next class. See you!